back, y'all. Big D, Derek Lambert. We're going to talk to The Recovery, Jeff from The Recovery. Go check out his YouTube channel. We're going to get into the nitty gritty. He's got over 4 years clean. He was like me, man, mainly hooked on the opiates. There's a bunch of variety of substances that he took, and we're going to dig into his story. So make sure you go over to his channel, subscribe, show him some love, drop a nice comment. You ain't got nothing good to say? Get the hell out of there. Love you guys. So, Jeff, what's up, man? Good to have you on, bro.
Hey, thanks, Derek, for having me on, man. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, man, I guess I'll kick it off with, like, drugs were a part of my life, man, from a young age. I overdosed due to my mom leaving pills out at 4 years old on Ativan. And, by the time I hit a teenager, like, it was just like I had two addicts in my house. So it was a natural part of life for me,
Absolutely. And how old are you now?
I'm 36.
36. So let me ask you this, man. Let's get into it. I'm sure you dabbled like me. We grew up. We thought we were the norm like everyone else. And we found out we were different. Somehow shit didn't work for us the same way. I mean, we fell in love with this stuff in a different way than maybe the average person does. Take me through somewhat quickly how you ended up getting into the depths of your addiction and some of the things that happened there.
It started off really with an injury, but like my addiction kicked off, I guess, at like 13 or 14. I got into like selling drugs. I came from a, lower middle class family, kind of money tight. And, I embraced the lifestyle. I mean, I won't lie. Like, I really embraced it when I was young, but it took such a fast turn for me from being a hustler and trying to make money to, I had an injury, got introduced to Oxycontin, and it was, I went from being able to have a couple grand in my pocket at all times to, scraping by to get, 80s or dope, whatever one it was that day to keep me all right,
Oh, yeah, really. I remember the first 80 I ever did back when they used to make them crushables. Let me ask you this. When you were out there in your active addiction and you were taking these, did it come to a point where you finally decided to try heroin, or was that something that you were kind of doing? It didn't matter to you as much. Like you just were doing whatever?
I went whatever was going to keep me well. I preferred Oxycontin back, this is back when they were crushable. I preferred that to start off, and then it progressed, and it, it became cheaper to support my habit on heroin as well, and I seen that happen to, I don't even know how many people through the time, I could count 30 people that I ran with heavily, that's all in the ground right now due to this stuff, man.
I'm actually going to be interviewing some of the people I ran the streets with, and they can kind of share a different aspect to not only their story, but they can kind of shine some light into my past so they can tell you how much of a fiend I was, to be honest with you. That lifestyle, man, took over.
Man, I'll tell you, I used to go to the clinic and, I would do methadone to keep me all right so I could get my, get other dope, but I would do methadone through like a clinic. Well, I would go there day in and day out knowing I didn't have money to panhandle money to get my dose. And like, I didn't have no shame in it. That's just what we do, man. I mean, whatever it takes.
That's a fact, man.
I had a little route around the little 275 loop where I live that where I even used to go like steal steaks as a hustle to support my habit. It's just crazy, the lengths we go.
Oh, yeah. Tell me something crazy about, like, an active addiction that you can recall that you might have done. One of the things that was just, now looking back, you're like, man.
Okay, well, I had a system set up to where, I had a system set up to where I would go steal Flamingon's from, different stores, whatever, and I even had a guy I could go sell them to half price all day long. My addiction took me to so many depths, man. I got attacked and actually caught a burglary charge at one point, and was a big turning point for me. And that just shows, when you're in them crowds, anything can happen, man. I went to the point, I was living, in pretty much crack houses or, dope houses, more or less, like motels that were pretty much frequented as drug spots, but so trust me, like the panhandling, the stealing, through everything, man, I got 2 prison numbers because of it. I had to deal with losing my sight during my last prison bid. I mean, uh, I've seen drugs, I've seen people go to the extent for drugs to where they've removed them from another person's orifices. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, yeah, no lie. Um, it's just that's what it'll do, man. And it wasn't just one person. I'm talking 5 guys ganging up on one. Like that stuff happens, and you know, so yeah, I've seen it all. I'd say with my addiction, man. My family's addicts, and that's something I still deal with today. I like I'd share with you, my niece. It just relapsed and tried to commit suicide after her relapse in jail. So um, trust me, I know the raw side of this stuff, man. And this is something I've been dealing with just recently.
Sorry about that with your niece, man. Let me ask you this: when you went to prison.
Yeah.
Did you use in prison, or was that something that you were like, dude, you kind of learned your lesson and were trying to stay clean in there? What was going on there?
My first time in prison, I used the whole time. My second time in prison, I had some temptation, but I really, I used once or twice, but I knew something had to change, man. Like at that point, I was going through a lot as well. It was hard, uh, so yeah, I mean, but if you want to use in prison, that's definitely, it's not, it's always there.
Yeah, I just wanted to know where you personally were at with that. How long did you spend in there?
I spent a year.
Oh,
And
wow.
then I got out. I had to do the halfway house thing, and I was homeless actually once I got out of the halfway house. Uh, I was homeless on the street. And I mean, when I finally got clean and hit rock bottom, was at that point.
So when you
Um,
got that was over 4 years ago. What happened? Like, what were you on during your active addiction at the end? What hit? What was that bottom? Like, what happened?
okay, I basically I had a long record due to my drug addiction. I was in the wrong place. I got attacked, jumped over some drugs I was trying to sell. I ended up calling 911. I caught a case throughout this whole thing because these guys wrote statements on me, and I just realized like, the people you run with, these guys who wrote statements on me that tried to rob me and jump me, were people I realized how my associations were, that there was no friends when you're using, and that kind of woke me up, because literally I caught a felony. It was a felony 2 originally. It dropped down to a 3, but it was all due to this incident where I had got jumped, and it was a messed up situation, but I felt like it was karmic debt at the same time. And basically, with my record, they were going to be able to convict me probably just off my record alone. And that kind of I woke up, because it took me, I'd say, 90 days for my brain to start like processing as a normal person again. And that's when I decided, I wanted some type of change in my life, and I didn't know how to achieve that, but
Hmm.
that's when I knew something had to give.
Yeah. No, I totally get it, man. I came to that place in my head, early on, and this last go around, I was able to hold it and stick with it. You
Now,
oh, go ahead.
don't get me wrong. This was 2012 when I got out the last time. Okay. Now, I had like 2.5 years sobriety, and I relapsed, and I went back out for a month, and thank God I came back, But so I want to say that for people, because I know once you get that clean time under your belt, it's hard to go back in and say, hey, I messed up. I let it all go.
Yep.
And a lot of people never come back from that. So that's one reason I want to share that. You can come back. People will welcome you, and
And I always say it, and this is absolute truth. Regardless, there's of course that shame and that guilt. Don't get me wrong. You feel ashamed when you do it, but I know this sounds cheesy, but don't go in, get your ass in there, and just open up. I'm telling you, before long, you realize there ain't really no shame there. People will accept you, especially those who are part of a community that are trying to help you get that and stay clean. Man, that lifestyle, that's another thing we chased. It wasn't just the drug. There was a lifestyle there that was a ritual of habit, and I'm glad that you're not living that way anymore. So you got clean, And what did you do to get clean? Because I know everybody has different methods. Did you go to a 12-step? What worked for
12
you?
steps were a huge part of my recovery. And the support group that came with that, my home group's awesome. Like I moved an hour away. I still talk to them to this day. And I moved like 3 years back. So that support, I never had that healthy support, man. And that's why I recommend that for anybody, because even if you came from a good family, our lifestyles get so crazy and out of hand that we're used to that dysfunction. And by the time we hit a rock bottom, we don't have much positive support left. So that's why I recommend that. You asked about something crazy that happened from my addiction, and
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you just one of my lows because it hit me while we were sat here. Um, I remember my mom, she was an addict growing up. I despised pills, and yet I became a pillhead, okay? And I remember going to a point, I remember she had stole from me back when I was like 17, and I remember how bad that hurt me, okay? Now, yet when I was 25, and my mom needed pain medicine. She had a broke hip, different things that she was on medicine for. I remember going through her purse, I'm like an army crawling through the living room to my mom's purse to steal from my mother, and, it just, I'll never, it took me so long to realize, and how, to deal with that because, that's just the lows we go to, man. It don't matter if it's mom, dad, whoever,
Yeah.
and, I knew when I took the last one of her pills, that was what really killed me was I knew the pain she would be in, from not having her medicine. But, we don't care when we're out there like that, so sorry
Yeah.
to pop that out of nowhere.
No,
But
I'm
you
glad
asked
you
me
did.
something,
No,
and,
man. I can relate. Everything you said literally was part of my story. Um, so you do YouTube now, and I've been telling a lot of people, man, make your own channel, tell your story. Someone might not relate to me. Someone might go, dude, you're cheesy. I'm not liking what you say. I don't really care what you say, whatever. And someone else's story, they might go, hey, I clicked to that guy, whatever reason.
yeah.
What made you start your YouTube channel about recovery, man?
Because, okay, when I got clean, I know, like, I offer to help people navigate the red tape to get insurance if they don't have it. If they don't have no way of getting in treatment, I'll help them because I learned how to navigate the red tape. And I know, like, you can come back from any low. You could be out there panhandling today, and if you decide you're done, you can do it. And there's people out there willing to help you. And I do it for one to keep myself busy, and for two, I want to give what I was given, out to people. And but I came, like I said, when I got sober, my life within 2 years from getting clean, I went from being homeless on the street, dealing with losing my eyesight at the time, mind you. I'm going blind while I'm trying to get sober. And, I realized through working that program, like, I realized a lot of that, a lot of my drug addiction came to me never dealing with losing my eyesight or dealing with pains that I had when I was younger. But I decided to do the YouTube thing just to pay it forward, more than anything.
How's it
And,
turned
and
out
kind
for
of
you?
share. It's going pretty good, man. I got 500, over 500 subs. I think we're at like 540. I've been on 23 and 1. I've been on OG Badger's channel, Derek Lambert's now.
Awesome, man.
So, I've been able to do some good collabs and kind of share my story. And I just want people to know, man, it don't matter where you're at. You can come back from that low, man, no matter what you got going on.
I love that, man. No, I totally relate to you on that, and I tell people all the time, man, make a channel, make a video if you're willing. Some people just aren't comfortable with putting their story out there. And what you do, I like seeing what you do. You frequently comment on my channel, and I really appreciate the positivity that you bring. You always have something nice to say, and you know how it feels when someone comments on your videos, something good and something that they receive, and you could tell you've made an impact on plenty of people's lives just from telling what you know. I say that to say, anyone watching this, go over, check his channel out, subscribe, man. Do that out of the kindness of your heart, and go over there and show him some love, and give us ideas. Sometimes I take ideas from my comments and try to use them in my stuff. So, plus I'm sure you'll be collabing on your channel at some point with people. This is just kind of creating a platform where we can help others who are out there in the struggle, man. I really appreciate what you've done. I'm sure there's a lot more dynamics to your story. Do you have anything that you think you missed that you'd like to share with the world?
I mean, you can come back from wherever you're at, man. That's all I want to share. There's plenty of people out there like Derek, there's plenty of people out there that's willing to help. And, that's basically what I'd share.
Awesome, man. With someone out there struggling right now, they hear you saying that you can come back. What would you say to them specifically? They feel like they just can't stop. They're stuck. They don't know how to quit. What would you tell them? Would you say something like, reach out right now to someone, or what would you
reach out right now? Call someone. If you don't know how to get into a doctor, if you need, outpatient, inpatient, whatever, if you don't know how to get started, get at me in the comments, and just let me know your county and state. I'll find you resources to get started right now. You might try and fail many times, but if you keep at it, it will get better. Like I said, I went from being homeless. Within the last 8 years, I got a 3-bedroom house now. I got 2 kids. I pay my bills. I'm not rich by no means, but you'd be amazed at the turnaround, within a year or two. If you just start now.
That's a fact. I remember, man, I had my truck repossessed 2 months into my recovery. I didn't have a vehicle, and I was like, I'm screwed. Like, it's supposed to get better. I'm having to go to an AA meeting for my kids to have a Christmas present because I can't afford to buy them Christmas. I have no job. I'm like, I'm broke. And you guys said it's supposed to get better, but I felt better, but I was depressed about the money. I was depressed about finances. Next thing you know, everything fell in line, man. That's a long story, but I can relate to what you're saying. And Thanks for joining me, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate what you do, man. And, keep it up.
Absolutely, and we'll have you back sometime to go into some nitty-gritty.
Yeah. If you want to hear some stories from prison and with the using and what goes on there, I'd come on and share, no problem, man, anytime.
I will definitely take you up on that. I am trying to bring dynamics that deal with addiction, drugs, mental health, that kind of stuff. And I think the prison side can be talked about. The things you've seen, the kind of things they do in prison, how the drug side of things work there. So I look forward to it, man.
That and just our system, man. Like my niece, her situation, I'm sorry, but she's 20, man. She got caught with a Percocet. She's got a felony on her record for the rest of her life. And I just think it needs to be treated more as a disease than a criminal aspect. So I try to touch on that some on my channel as well.
I agree 1,000%. Decriminalize, man. If you're some dude working for the cartel running kilos, I get it. If you're some dope dealer killing people with fentanyl, I get it. You're talking about somebody who probably dealt with trauma, who probably suffered in a household that gave them no chance at life, and they came out and had this rough beginning all the way to the end, and you're just going to put them in a box and lock them up? They've done studies and shown that just creates more problems. So I'm with you on that 100%, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks for joining me, Jeff, and make sure you go subscribe, The Recovery. It'll be down in the description. Hey guys, there's a lot more with Jeff from The Recovery. Do go check him out. Subscribe to his channel. He's got more war stories. We just wanted to get a general basic covering of what we discussed here today pertaining to his recovery. That's the title of his YouTube channel, The Recovery. So go show him some love. I love you guys. Appreciate you tuning in.